So this is just really awesome. I'm loving it. There's only a couple of things that I think this is just wonderful. You should be so proud to be able to put this in your portfolio, your student portfolio. It's just that good. Sorry about that. I'm trying to do something there. There we go. Okay, I'm trying to get that in the window, and so let's take a look. Sometimes I like to zoom out like this to take a look at a typographic color, and I think that you're pretty good. Looking at your space between paragraphs, and I'm thinking it's a little bit large, and the only reason I'm saying that is because this is a trouble area right here. So I'm saying reduce the size in between paragraphs just a touch, and then work this so that we can get that line extended a little bit more so you just don't have this weird space right here. And then also watch your rags, only because this text box here is so long, your rags are so extended over here that it almost looks like this type column is wider than this one. And of course that would decimate your grid. And it really does look like that in a few areas. I think your rags are too drastic in long and short. So in other words, you have like long, short, really long, really short, really long. Try to even those out a little bit. And then of course you have those things. I love making that noise when I draw around those shapes that rags make. Whoop, we're not supposed to have that. Remember, long, short, something like this. This right here up to about. It's actually, this whole first paragraph is pretty good. Then you get some weirdness right here. So, anyways, drop cap, looking pretty good. You might even try throwing a different typeface in there altogether. Maybe this one, or you don't have a serif. That's right. So maybe try to find a serif to use somewhere. And what I'm going to suggest is this. Okay, you've got this uneven baseline anyway. So what I'm going to suggest is that you got this wonderful headline, but I think that your leading is too great. It's too large. The space in between those two lines of type is too large. Pull those together. And instead of having this true horror of cat overpopulation, type up a deck. I mean, set a deck, and that is give us a little. Just a 3 or 4 line, you can go the length just like you did here, but in just a little bit of a different typeface. And this might be where your serif fits in, but just give us a 4 or 5 lines. Give us a true horror story. Introduce us to the story by giving us a little horror story. Do you see what I'm saying? It's called a deck, and you can take a look at how to set up a deck in InDesign, but I've pointed to decks a few times in some of my examples. I don't think I have to do that now, but anyways. And then you can just go ahead and after the deck, give yourself a little breathing room and then start the type in your 2 column. You don't have to worry about including all the type because you can always do a continued on page. And then also your folios look good, but the only thing is typically in magazine you have your folio. It would be ASPAC Action September 10th, 2016. And over here, it would be this September 10th, 2016 would mirror this. So it would be on the inside closest to the page number. And then you had ASPCA. So it would be a symmetrical, you know what I'm saying? And again, you can look up how to set up your portfolio on your portfolio. How to set up your folio on in InDesign page folios. Okay, other than that, I think this page is just I'm loving it. Let's take a look at your other. Okay, there's too much going on here. You're everywhere. You got too much. It's unusual that you would. I mean, I think this is cool, the way that this fits together, but it's just, boy, I just think there's too much. There's so much going on here. And then this is just loaded with type. I mean, you've got no white space at all. You're just really to the edges everywhere. I'm gonna ask you to recompose, and let me talk about why, because Don't forget this is a two-color project, so all these full color images you can't use. And it looks like your two colors are going to end up being red and black. So remember that would be a duotone, as with those color images. Then these would have to be either turned to black and white or some other variation thereof. I would just go ahead and set this up as, use some images. Let's go ahead and take a look at a gatefold. I'm going to say gatefold brochure design examples. And you can see that you're really, I'm just going to go ahead and do image search, and we can see that gatefold gives you a wonderful opportunity to use image in creative ways. And it's not something that you want to load down with text. Okay, it's more of a kind of like a it's an expensive message, so you don't really want to kind of clutter things up. You know what I mean? It's a gatefold, meaning it should be exclusive. Doesn't this feel exclusive? Doesn't this feel exclusive? I mean, you've got some wonderful typography and some wonderful graphics, but it's just not all forced. You know what I'm saying? I think this is forced. So I want you to think about that, okay? I just want you to think about that. I want you to do some visual research and really think about use of elements of design, including color, composition, contrast, placement, proximity, and of course, the ever important hierarchy, okay? Think about that and remember the principle of CRAP. That's contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity. All right, so I'd like to see you recompose this after doing a little bit more visual research. Plenty to search here for. Okay, this one should be more more pleasing, less like, okay, this is just information central. Okay, I think you get it. Okay, cool. Good job, thanks.